a song for you.
You're listening to Deep Purple Smoke on the Podcast. I will do one episode for each song the band recorded in the studio. However, this is a fan podcast and not band endorsed. It's more of a tribute to their long history, well beyond just the hits, and my way of giving something back to a band that has given so much to me. Let's dig in! Hello and welcome to another episode of Deep Purple Smoke on the Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and this is season 26, episode 26, doing revisits to all the songs that I reviewed with guests, where my focus was a little bit different than when I do reviews by myself. So I thought I'll do a season of critical listens by myself and just see what I find. And some of the results have been rather surprising. We're going back to season 14, episode 1. Chris L. from Pot of Thunder was my guest. We actually recorded 2 episodes that night. I'll be getting to that one, the other one, in the next episode. But today, we're here to talk about the song King of Dreams, the opener from Slaves and Masters, the first and only, so far, album to feature Joe Turner on vocals. I say so far not because it's likely that it would ever happen again. I'm pretty sure that the band that we've got is the band that we will continue to have. However, I always leave room for possibility because you just never know what's going to happen in life. If you would have asked me, in 1988, do I think Joe Turner would ever sing for Deep Purple? I would say, no, we've got Ian Gillan. Why would we need Joe Turner? Well, that happened because Ian Gillan got fired. They brought in Joe Turner and did an album with him. Thankfully, he was able to, bridge the gap before Ian came back. And there you go. There's some gems on this album, as we discovered throughout the season. There's some songs that I wasn't particularly a huge fan of, but this is an interesting one here. We're going to get into it and see what I find as I do a solo review. Thanks again to Chris L. from Pot of Thunder for visiting for this song. His links are in the show notes, guys, for the original episode and in the show notes right here. Let's get into this. This is King of Dreams by Deep Purple. So I do think the opening is a little bit weird. I think they could have picked a better opener, something to introduce the new band. But, this is still a hard rock album. We've still got songs like Wicked Ways and Cut Runs Deep. But there are a lot of other songs on here that I don't really think qualify as hard rock. So in that light, maybe to show off the direction of the band, I guess this isn't a bad choice. But I would think you would want to come out of the gate and say, hey, we're still a hard rock band. That would be, what I would think they would want to do. But this is also a time when they were actually going for an image for the first time. Typically if they felt like smiling in a photo, they smiled. If they didn't, they didn't. And, nowadays they're all dressing in black leather and it's trying to become something defined. Whereas Deep Purple pretty much was never defined. I mean, every album had a little variety to it. You had your occasional Anyone's Daughter, but you also had your Hard Lovin' Man. And it was definitely an interesting time in the band. I think just trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out how Joe integrated into the band, fighting the Deep Rainbow name that the fans had dubbed it. And fans is a questionable thing. Because I really feel that this was a transitionary period, although you wouldn't have known it when the album came out. I don't remember what my initial thoughts were the very first time I heard this song, but I do like this sort of pulsing opening once you get past the breathing and the electronic strings and all that. This extra keyboard sound that keeps it from just being eighth notes, that dent, 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 that you're hearing in there. That sounded like Jaws, but There's just that extra synthesizer in there that I think sets it apart. But the pulse is kind of nice, just not for an opener. And Chris and I talked about that.
It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. It really doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't matter if you like my song. As long as you can hear me sing. Who's on the throne in every little girl's rose? You know I cut but never bleed. A shadow in the night, pure delight. I can satisfy your every need.
I didn't really zone in on that line. It doesn't matter if you like the song as long as you can hear me sing, because both Chris L and I thought the vocals were good, but the music was just kind of lackluster. And in general, I'd have to agree with that. I don't think there's a lot going on in this song. It certainly lacks a little bit of the Deep Purple flair that we're used to. I do hear a little bit of stuff coming from Richie in here that breaks up just that straight pulse. But for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward song. Not a lot dynamically, which we're not used to from Deep Purple. We're used to layers. We're used to little notes being thrown in, which we're getting only a little of here. We're used to a lot of stuff. But again, this is only the first verse, and it's not uncommon for a first verse to be fairly simple. The vocals on the chorus are great. I love when he does the layering, but I also love when he just sings really strong like that. The verse is nice, but it's basic Joe, right? We know he can sing like that, but it's fairly just flat storytelling, and you don't really get any emotion until we get into the chorus when he starts to really bring it. And I love Joe's voice. I find it kind of sad that he didn't ever find that one band that worked for him. He's on a lot of projects. He's done a lot of things, but other than Rainbow and some solo projects, he never found that band that he could do 10 albums with and have that success. And I think that's a shame because he's very talented. I don't think he's the greatest lyricist. Talked about that a couple of occasions on different podcasts, but I do think he's a very talented singer, and he knows how to bring emotion. He knows how to bring those dynamics. But just unfortunately never really found that. And when you listen to this, you're like, how is that possible? It's so much of this business is luck. You can have a ton of talent. We only know about the people that have found success. We don't know about all the incredibly talented people that never did because they didn't find the success. Joe found an element of it for sure, but as far as just like a band with longevity, unfortunately, he's just not found that. But I do like that really powerful chorus. And then I like that extended instrumental section after that, before we go into the verse, instead of just doing 4 measures dropping down into the verse again. I like that they let the music hold there a little bit. That feels good. That was a good decision. Really not much more in the second verse. I was, hoping that they would have added another layer or something that I missed. But yeah, it's really not much different than the first, maybe a little more from Richie, but still, fairly straightforward and just a little bit lackluster, I hate to say. Okay, so they added a little bit in this section. We get, that other synth, and then we get a little feedback from Richie to transition into the next part like we did before. Feedback's a little bit bigger this time, I think, than the first time, but yeah, we're still just basically hanging on the one pulse is the foundation of this entire song so far. Even during the chorus, it just stayed the same, although it was following the melody more than just that straightforward, dun, 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 dun. Still just kept maintained that pulse. So that was about 50 seconds of pretty much nothing. No changes, just again, following along that pulse. I mean, you get these huge sounding cicada bugs, but really nothing happened during this section. If we would have even had just a few extra notes, just something to color it a little bit more, but I mean, there wasn't really anything interesting that happened in this whole thing that you could have just cut this out, gone right to a solo, back into a chorus, and been done with the song. Okay, so there we had a really nice run from Roger. I like that. First real sign of life in the song outside of the vocals. I mean, this section was okay. It was a little bit different than the verse, but it's still just basic song, right? It's still just that pulse and really not much musically. Now we are getting that one riff from Richie, but it's just become so repetitive that I want something else. There's no alts for it, no other versions of it. He's just playing the same thing over and over. And I realized his guitar sound is kind of raspy here. There's not much bottom end to it at all. I could use a little more bass in the guitar, some low end EQ, just something to thicken it up a little bit, but it sounds a little bit tinny. I like the notes that he's playing are fine, but I don't like the sound of the guitar. And I think that's part of it. So take a sound that doesn't have a lot of power in it. On top of that, then it just repeats over and over. I mean, he plays the riff so many times, no variation, on top of a song that's fairly, a plain donut. Give me some sprinkles. Give me some frosting. Now I want a donut. So I am hearing another guitar track, just some chords added to this chorus, which sound pretty good. In those tones, Richie's guitar sounds good. It's more of the, the higher register notes that he's playing, just that dun, 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 dun lick that doesn't sound great to me. But here in the lower tones, it's not too bad. But at least they did something to add a little bit of interest to the chorus instead of just having it all rely on the vocals. I'm feeling like Ritchie was just starting to get into the song a little bit too, playing some almost solo stuff in the background. See, the song also has no guitar solo or organ solo. It has a middle section, but there's nothing going on over it. It's like they muted the solo in the final mix, or they just forgot to track one, and they're like, well, I guess that's the song you wanted. Let's go ahead and mix it. But it does lack some luster, I would say, honestly. There's some nice moments from Ritchie, but for the most part, I agree with what I said the first time that I reviewed this with Chris Al. I think honestly, this is really is Joe is the hero of this one. There's just not much going on. We get that one really nice run from Roger that stuck out, but for the most part, it's just a lot of pulse and not a lot of excitement. Not that every song needs to be like all over the place or anything like that, but I mean, look at the writers we've got in this band, and I feel like they wrote a basic song and just said, all right, I guess that's what we'll put out, and didn't bother to go back and finish it, because this could use a couple of more layers, I think. The arrangement and everything is fine. I don't mind that at all, but it could use a little bit of polish for my taste. But I do like the feel of the song. I just want more than that. Like I like the opening sound of it once we get past the breathing and all that, and just get into the pulse. Like I like the feeling of that, but to have a whole song of that and not much else besides vocals, just, it kind of runs out of steam for me fairly quick is I guess what I'm trying to say. But what do you guys think of the song? If you didn't let me know on the original run of this, let me know now. You can comment on the Facebook, Deep Purple Smoke on the Podcast group. You can comment on the Blue Sky post, or you can comment on Instagram. Those are the places where I post the show. If you are a member of the Patreon, you can also post on the Patreon post if you're a paid member. If you're not a paid member, you typically only see the Monday or special posts. But thank you all for all the support. It means so much to me. It's been a wild ride, this podcast, digging into these songs that, honestly, I thought I knew so many of these songs backwards and forwards until I really dug in and listened with a critical ear. There's so much I didn't know. So I've personally, and I hope this has been the case for you guys, is that I found a way to appreciate this band on another level that I never would have had I not done this podcast. And that is my hope for you as well. But I hope that you guys have enjoyed my revisit of King of Dreams. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Thanks for listening to Deep Purple Smoke on the Podcast, a tour of the entire Deep Purple studio recordings. Please remember to give the show a rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. Leave a comment and tell your friends. I also have a Patreon set up if you'd like to support the show. You can also write to me at smokeonthepodcast@gmail.com. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and thanks for listening.